The universe operates on principles we understand: physics, chemistry, the fundamental laws of cause and effect. Warp fields bend spacetime through controlled matter-antimatter reactions. Subspace allows faster-than-light communication through dimensional layers we've mapped and measured. For 3 centuries, the United Federation of Planets has explored the cosmos using science, reason, and the certainty that every mystery has a rational explanation. But what happens when something tears through the fabric of reality itself? Something that answers to laws older than physics, powered by forces that predate science. Captain Jean-Luc Picard stood on the bridge of the USS Enterprise-D, his reflection ghosting across the pristine viewscreen as stars streaked past at warp 6. They were 3 days into a diplomatic mission to the Caldor system when Lieutenant Commander Data's fingers flew across his ops console with unusual urgency. "Captain, I am detecting a massive subspace distortion bearing 27 Mark IV. The energy signature is..." Data paused, his positronic brain processing readings that defied categorization. "Inconsistent with any known phenomenon." On screen. Picard stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back. The view screen shifted to show a wound in space itself, a writhing tear of crimson and gold energy that pulsed with rhythmic intensity. Lightning arced across the rupture, but not the blue-white discharge of electrical storms. This was something else. Something that made the bridge lights flicker in sympathetic response. "Shields up. Red alert." Picard's voice remained calm even as klaxons blared. "Counselor Troi, are you sensing anything?" Deanna Troi gripped her chair, her empathic senses overwhelmed. "Pain, Captain. Ancient pain, and rage. So much rage. The rupture is expanding," Data reported. "Subspace is destabilizing in a sphere approximately 50,000 kilometers in diameter. Recommend we increase distance to..." The viewscreen blazed white. When vision returned, a figure floated in the void where the rupture had been. The tear had sealed itself, but what remained was impossible by every measurement Starfleet had ever recorded. A man, or something wearing the shape of a man, hovered in hard vacuum without environmental suit or shuttle. He was tall, powerfully built, draped in black and gold that seemed more like ancient royal regalia than any uniform. A lightning bolt blazed across his chest. His eyes glowed with golden fire that pierced the darkness of space, as if illuminated from within. And he was looking directly at the Enterprise. "Magnify," Picard ordered quietly. The being's face filled the screen. Strong features, dark skin, an expression of absolute contempt. He raised one hand, and lightning, pure, golden lightning, crackled between his fingers. Not the pale blue of ionized particles, but something that looked like captured sunlight given form and fury. "Sensors are unable to determine life signs," Data said, his tone carrying the slight inflection he used when genuinely puzzled. "The entity registers as organic, yet also as pure energy. Tricorder readings fluctuate between biological and the database suggests the term magical, though this is scientifically imprecise." "Hail him," Picard said. "Standard first contact protocols." "Channel open, Captain." Picard straightened, falling into the diplomatic posture that had served him through 100 first contacts. "I am Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Federation Starship Enterprise. On behalf of the United Federation of Planets, I welcome you. We mean you no harm. We're here to assist you if you require aid, or to establish peaceful contact if you prefer." The being's eyes narrowed. When he spoke, his voice carried across the comm system without any visible transmission device. Deep, resonant, and dripping with disdain. "Federation. Starship. Quaint words for a quaint vessel crewed by quaint people." He drifted closer, and the Enterprise's shields crackled at his approach though he hadn't touched them. "I am Teth-Adam, chosen of the gods, wielder of powers your science cannot comprehend. I have ruled kingdoms while your ancestors cowered in caves. I have toppled empires and remade civilizations in my image." He raised both hands, and lightning erupted from his palms. Not toward the Enterprise, but outward in all directions, a display of raw power that made every sensor on the bridge spike into the red. "I do not require your aid, Captain. I require your submission." Worf's hands moved to tactical controls. "Captain, recommend we..." "Belay that, Lieutenant." Picard kept his eyes on the view screen. "Teth-Adam, we have no interest in conflict. This space is governed by treaties and laws designed to ensure peaceful coexistence among thousands of worlds. Whatever brought you here, we can help you understand this reality and find your place within." "Laws?" The being called Teth-Adam laughed, and it was the sound of thunder rolling across ancient battlefields. "I am the law. I need no treaties with those too weak to enforce their will. You speak of peace as if it were strength. It is not. It is merely the comfort of the conquered, the lie the powerless tell themselves to sleep at night." He flew closer, moving with impossible speed. One moment he was 1,000 kilometers distant. The next, he hovered directly in front of the bridge view screen, close enough that Picard could see the contempt burning in those golden eyes. "Your Federation will kneel, Captain. Or it will burn. The choice is yours." "Sir?" Data interjected. "Long-range sensors are detecting another subspace distortion. Similar energy signature but younger somehow. It appears to be..." A second rupture tore open space 200,000 kilometers astern. This one blazed white and blue instead of crimson gold. Lightning of a different character entirely, cleaner, brighter, discharged across the tear. Teth-Adam's head snapped around, his expression shifting from contempt to recognition, then to fury. Him. The word carried 5,000 years of hatred. Of course the wizard would send his pet champion. The boy thinks he can stop me. He couldn't in our reality. What makes him think he can here? The second rupture collapsed, and another figure emerged into the void. Younger, dressed in brilliant red with a golden lightning bolt across his chest, a mirror and opposite of the first arrival. Where Teth-Adam radiated ancient malice, this new arrival blazed with something else entirely. Hope. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Trek universe, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. Live long and prosper. Captain, Data said quietly. I believe we have inadvertently positioned ourselves between two immensely powerful hostile entities. Picard watched the two beings face each other across the void, lightning crackling between them like the prelude to a storm that would make the Genesis device look like a firecracker. Indeed, Mr. Data. Indeed we have. He tapped his comm badge. Picard to all hands. Battle stations. And someone get me everything we have on ancient Earth mythology. I suspect we're going to need it. The younger arrival raised his hand, not in threat, but in greeting toward the Enterprise. His voice carried the same impossible transmission as the first, but where Teth-Adam's had been contempt, this one held urgency and youth. Enterprise, my name is Shazam. That man is Black Adam, and he's more dangerous than anything in your database. Please, get to safety. This is about to get very ugly. Black Adam smiled, and it was the expression of a predator who'd found prey in an unexpected place. Run, boy. Run to your new friends. Let them see what their diplomacy and law mean when facing true power. Let them learn what I learned 5,000 years ago, that only the strong deserve to survive. Lightning erupted from both figures simultaneously, and the Enterprise's shields screamed under the spillover energy. The war between gods had come to the Federation. And Starfleet had no idea what it had just been pulled into. The bridge of the Enterprise had faced Borg cubes, Romulan warbids, and spatial anomalies that threatened to tear the ship apart. But nothing had prepared the crew for what unfolded in the seconds after Black Adam and Shazam's lightning collided. The energy discharge wasn't just visible light, it was something fundamental, something that made reality itself shudder. The view screen dimmed automatically to prevent optical damage, but even through the filters, the brilliance was almost unbearable. Two streams of golden lightning met in the void between the champions, creating a sphere of pure power that expanded outward in a shockwave. Brace for impact! Picard barely got the words out before the wave hit. The Enterprise lurched violently. Inertial dampeners struggled to compensate as the ship was thrown sideways like a leaf in a hurricane. Consoles sparked. The lights flickered between normal illumination and emergency red. On the view screen, the two figures barely seemed to notice the starship caught in their crossfire. "Shields down to 62%, Worf reported, his Klingon instincts screaming at him to return fire even though he knew their weapons would be useless. "Hull integrity holding. Get us out of here, Mr. Crusher," Picard ordered. "Full impulse. Put some distance between us and—" "Captain, the younger one, Shazam, is moving toward us." Data's fingers danced across his console. "Velocity suggests he is attempting to position himself between the Enterprise and Black Adam." On the view screen, it was clear Data was correct. Shazam flew with incredible speed, not as fast as Warp, but faster than any humanoid should move under their own power, placing himself directly in Black Adam's line of sight to the ship. His red cape snapped in the solar wind, an impossibly dramatic flourish in the cold mathematics of space. Black Adam's expression twisted with rage. "Always the hero, boy. Always protecting the weak. It will be your undoing. Again." He raised both hands and unleashed a barrage of lightning bolts, not the single strike from before, but a storm of golden energy that arced through space like guided missiles. Shazam met them with his own power, white-blue lightning intercepting gold, creating explosions that registered on the Enterprise's sensors as miniature fusion reactions. "Those energy releases," Data observed with his characteristic calm, "are equivalent to photon torpedo detonations. Each one." Picard's jaw tightened. "Bridge to engineering. Commander LaForge, I need options." Geordi's voice came back strained over the comm. "Captain, I'm reading massive EM interference across all frequencies. Whatever that energy is, it's playing havoc with our systems. Transporters are offline, and the warp core is showing fluctuations I've never seen before. It's like the energy is talking to our antimatter containment fields." "Talking?" Picard echoed. "I know how it sounds, sir, but the pattern isn't random. It's almost like the lightning is trying to find a resonance frequency with our reactor." Before Picard could respond, Shazam's voice cut through the chaos on an open channel. "Enterprise, I'm buying you time. Get clear and don't try to help. Your weapons won't work on him, and I can't protect you if you engage." The young champion spun in space, dodging a lightning bolt that would have vaporized a shuttlecraft, and shouted a single word that rang with power. "Shazam!" Lightning. Pure white, blazing with intensity that made Black Adam's golden fury look almost dim, struck down from nowhere. Not from the stars, not from any visible source, but from somewhere else entirely. It engulfed the young hero, and when it cleared, he was moving faster, hitting harder. He closed the distance to Black Adam and drove a fist into the ancient warrior's jaw. The impact created a shockwave that rocked the Enterprise again. Black Adam flew backward, tumbling through space for 300 kilometers before he arrested his momentum. He touched his lip, saw golden blood, actual glowing blood, on his fingers, and smiled. "Good. You've learned something since last we fought. Not enough, but something." He cracked his neck, and arcs of power danced across his shoulders. "Let me show you what 5,000 years of combat experience looks like." He moved. Data's eyes widened fractionally. The closest he came to showing surprise. "Captain, Black Adam just accelerated to .03 light speed. In atmosphere, this would be impossible," Picard finished. "I know." Black Adam became a golden blur, striking Shazam with a combination of blows that drove the younger champion backward, each impact creating those fusion-level energy bursts. Shazam blocked, dodged, countered. His movements were skilled, trained, but it was clear he was fighting defensively. "He's outmatched," Worf observed, his tactical mind analyzing the battle. "The younger one has power, but the other has experience. Skill. Ruthlessness." Troy closed her eyes, her empathic senses overwhelmed. "Black Adam enjoys this. The pain he's inflicting, the dominance, it feeds something in him. But Shazam, he's afraid, but not of dying. He's afraid of failing. Of letting innocent people get hurt. Another exchange of blows sent both fighters tumbling away from each other. They hung in space, breathing hard, an automatic response even though vacuum should make breathing impossible. Everything about them defied physics. Enterprise, Shazam called out, his young voice carrying exhaustion now. I need you to listen carefully. Black Adam and I were pulled here from another reality. Our universe operates on different rules. Magic, gods, powers that your science probably can't measure. Back home, we're champions chosen by ancient wizards and given the power of gods. Gods, Picard repeated quietly. Mr. Data? If we accept his explanation at face value, Data said, it would explain the sensor inconsistencies. What they call magic may be a form of energy manipulation from a dimension where different physical laws apply. The Rock of Eternity he mentioned could be. Black Adam's laughter cut across the channel. Listen to them, boy. Trying to rationalize us. Trying to fit gods into their neat little boxes of science and reason. They'll learn. This universe will learn what the last one did. That power is the only truth that matters. He raised one hand toward a nearby moon orbiting a gas giant, a barren rock of no strategic value, uninhabited according to sensors. Golden lightning erupted from his palm, a sustained beam that struck the moon's surface. What's he doing? Picard demanded. Data's console lit up with warnings. Captain, he is channeling massive amounts of energy into the moon's core. If he continues, the thermal buildup will. The moon exploded. Not cracked, not fractured, exploded. Billions of tons of rock vaporized in an instant, the debris field expanding outward in a perfect sphere of destruction. The shockwave would take hours to reach them, but the message was immediate and clear. Black Adam turned back to face the Enterprise, and his expression held no remorse, no hesitation. Only certainty. That is what happens to worlds that defy me, Captain Picard. Now, will you submit? Or shall I demonstrate my point using one of your precious Federation colonies instead of an empty rock? Shazam moved between them again, fists clenched, jaw set. You'll have to go through me first. Gladly. Picard made his decision. Mr. Crusher, get us out of here. Maximum warp. Now. As the Enterprise jumped to warp, leaving the battling champions behind, Picard stared at the viewscreen where the moon had been. He'd negotiated with Romulans, reasoned with Q, and faced down the Borg. But he'd never encountered anyone who destroyed a celestial body just to make a point. The Enterprise dropped out of warp near Starbase 157, a modest facility on the edge of Federation space that served as a regional administrative hub for 14 colony worlds. Captain Picard had requested an emergency meeting with Starfleet Command, but Admiral Nechayev's response had been clear: contain the situation, gather intelligence, and prevent escalation. Easy words from someone who hadn't watched a moon explode. Captain's log supplemental. It has been 6 hours since our encounter with the beings identifying themselves as Black Adam and Shazam. Long-range sensors tracked their battle for 47 minutes before both energy signatures vanished. We do not know if the conflict ended, if they moved beyond sensor range, or if something else occurred. What we do know is that we are facing a threat unlike anything in Starfleet's database, and we are unprepared. Picard stood in the observation lounge with his senior staff. On the view screen, Admiral Nechayev's stern face regarded them from her office at Starfleet headquarters. A being who can destroy a moon with energy projection, Nechayev said flatly. You understand how this sounds, Captain? I have data sensor logs, Admiral. The evidence is irrefutable. Nechayev glanced at something off-screen. We've analyzed the data. If accurate, this Black Adam represents a threat level comparable to a Borg cube. Possibly worse, since he appears to act independently, and with clear hostile intent. The younger one, Shazam, seemed willing to communicate. Riker offered. He warned us away, tried to protect us. If we could establish contact. A single individual protecting a starship from another individual. Nechayev interrupted. Do you hear yourself, Commander? This defies every tactical principle we have. Our ships are weapons. They're designed for ship-to-ship combat, not engaging what amounts to. She paused, searching for words. Humanoid weapons of mass destruction. Data spoke up. Admiral, if I may. Based on their dialogue and energy signatures, I believe both beings draw power from what they term magic, a form of energy manipulation from their home dimension. In this universe, that energy appears to interact with subspace in unprecedented ways. Commander LaForge detected the energy attempting to resonate with our antimatter containment. Are you saying they could detonate a warp core just by being near it? Unknown, Admiral. But the possibility exists. The screen split to show a second transmission, this one from Governor T'Pren of Tyrelia, a Vulcan colony in the Arcanis sector. Her face held the controlled calm of her species, but her words carried urgency. Starfleet Command, I must report a situation of extreme concern. 3 hours ago, a humanoid matching the description of Black Adam appeared in our capital city. He demanded immediate surrender of the colony to his authority. When our security forces attempted to respond, She paused, and for a Vulcan, the hesitation spoke volumes. He destroyed the entire planetary defense grid with lightning from his hands. 17 ships. Gone in seconds. Picard's blood ran cold. Casualties? The crews transported to safety before he struck. He allowed them that much. His words were, I give you this one mercy so you understand I choose when to kill. Defy me again, and I will not be so generous. Nechayev leaned forward. Governor, what is his current status? He has established himself in the governmental complex. Our people are. T'Pren's voice remained steady, but Picard heard the strain. They are afraid, Admiral. He sits on the council chair as if it were a throne and issues proclamations. He has renamed Tyrelia New Kondak and declared himself its eternal ruler. No one has been harmed since the initial demonstration, but his presence is absolute. He radiates power that our sensors cannot quantify. Worf's fists clenched. We should respond immediately. Send a fleet. And do what, Lieutenant? Nechayev cut him off. Based on the Enterprise's encounter, our weapons are ineffective. Sending ships would only provide him with more targets to destroy. Or worse, more warp cores to detonate. Admiral, Picard said carefully. What about the other one? Shazam. He claimed to be pursuing Black Adam. If we could locate him, coordinate our efforts. A new alert chimed on the Enterprise bridge. The transmission cut to Data, who'd stepped out to ops. Captain, we are receiving a priority distress call. Audio only. The source is... He paused. Inside Starbase 157. On speaker. Static crackled, then a young voice, the same one they'd heard in space, came through. Enterprise, this is Shazam. I know you probably don't trust me, but I need help. I'm injured, my powers are flickering, and I can't transform back without risking exposure to vacuum. I need somewhere to recover, and I need information about where Black Adam went. Please. People are going to die if I can't stop him. Picard exchanged glances with Riker. The first officer gave a small nod. Mr. Shazam, Picard said. This is Captain Picard. What is your exact location? Docking Bay 3. I managed to hitch a ride on a freighter's hull when it jumped to warp. Not my most dignified moment, but I didn't have a lot of options. Stand by. We're bringing you aboard. Picard nodded to Riker, who moved toward the turbolift. Admiral, requesting permission to. Granted, Nechayev said immediately. Captain, this may be our only chance to understand what we're dealing with. Find out everything you can. And Captain? Be careful. We don't know if this Shazam is truly an ally or if this is some kind of elaborate deception. The transmission ended. Picard turned to Troy. Counselor, you'll accompany Commander Riker. I want your assessment of our guest. Understood, Captain? As his officers left, Picard moved to the observation window. Below, Starbase 157 hung against the stars, a symbol of Federation presence, of order and civilization in the endless dark. On Tyrelia, Black Adam sat on a throne that didn't belong to him, ruling through fear and overwhelming power. Everything Picard believed in, diplomacy, law, the principle that might did not make right, was being challenged by a being who'd lived for 5 millennia operating on the exact opposite philosophy. And their only potential ally was a young hero who just admitted he was injured and weakening. Data's voice broke his thoughts. Captain, I am detecting another energy spike. Same signature as Black Adam's transformation power, but this one is distant. Very distant. Where? The Romulan neutral zone. Specifically, 3 light-years inside Romulan territory. Picard's eyes narrowed. The Romulans have made contact with him. It would appear so, sir. Of course they had. The Tal Shiar would see exactly what Starfleet saw, immense power, unbound by Federation law or morality. The difference was that the Romulans wouldn't try to reason with Black Adam. They'd try to weaponize him. Contact Admiral Nechayev. Tell her we have a new problem. Data turned back to his console, but Picard barely heard the exchange. His mind was already racing through scenarios, contingencies, diplomatic angles. But deep down, in the part of him that had faced down the Borg, that had been assimilated and fought his way back to humanity, he knew the truth. This wasn't a problem that could be solved with words. This was going to require something the Federation had spent 200 years trying to evolve beyond. War. The transporter room hummed with the familiar whine of materialization. Riker stood with a security team. Worf had insisted, despite Riker's argument that phasers would be useless, while Troi positioned herself to get a clear empathic reading the moment their guest arrived. The golden shimmer coalesced into a figure that looked far less impressive than the being who'd battled Black Adam in the void. He was young. That was Riker's first thought. Not young in the way Data appeared young, or even Wesley. This was a teenager, maybe 16 or 17, dressed in a red suit with a torn cape and a lightning bolt across his chest that flickered with residual energy. His dark hair was disheveled, and there was a cut above his eye that glowed faintly gold instead of bleeding red. He swayed the moment materialization completed. Worf moved forward, but Troi was faster, catching the boy's arm before he collapsed. Get him to sickbay. Now. I'm okay, Shazam protested, but his voice lacked conviction. Just need a minute. The transformation it's harder here. Something about your universe makes it difficult to hold the power. You're coming to sickbay whether you like it or not, Riker said firmly. Worf, escort our guest. Counselor Troi and I will accompany. As they walked through the corridors, crew members stopped to stare. Word had already spread about the beings who nearly destroyed the Enterprise. Seeing one of them stumbling through their ship, looking more like an exhausted kid than a god, created a cognitive dissonance that Riker could read on every face. Dr. Crusher was waiting in sickbay, tricorder already in hand. On the biobed. Now. Shazam complied, and Crusher began her examination. Her expression shifted from professional concern to outright confusion within seconds. I don't even know where to start. Your cellular structure is partially organic, partially pure energy. Your DNA has sequences I've never seen, and there are power signatures running through your nervous system like a secondary circulatory system. Yeah, I get that a lot, Shazam said with a weak smile. The wisdom of Solomon, strength of Hercules, stamina of Atlas, power of Zeus, courage of Achilles, speed of Mercury. That's what Shazam stands for. The gods gave me their powers, but in your universe, the connection is unstable. Troi stepped closer, her empathic senses focused. You're in pain. Not just physical, you're grieving. You feel responsible for Black Adam being here. The young hero's expression crumbled. It's my fault. We were fighting on the Rock of Eternity, the magical nexus that anchors our reality, and I pushed too hard. The energy tore open a dimensional rift, and we both got pulled through. Now he's here, in a universe that doesn't have magical defenses, doesn't understand what he is. He could conquer everything. Tell us about him, Riker said, pulling up a chair. Everything. We need to understand what we're facing. Shazam took a shaky breath. His real name is Teth-Adam. 5,000 years ago, the wizard Shazam, different Shazam, he chose me as his champion and I took his name, chose Teth-Adam to be his champion. Gave him the same powers I have now. But Adam didn't use them to protect people. He used them to rule. To conquer. When the wizard tried to stop him, Adam killed him and took the power for himself. He's immortal? Warfast? Immortal. Invulnerable. Stronger than almost anything. And he's had 5,000 years to perfect how to use his powers. I've had 3 years. I'm good, but I'm not. He gestured helplessly. I can't beat him alone. I've tried. Multiple times. He always wins. Crusher's tricorder beeped. Your energy levels are at 63% and dropping. Whatever connection you have to your power source, it's being disrupted by something in our space-time. I know. Shazam looked at his hands, where the lightning that should have been crackling across his fingers barely sparked. In our universe, the rock of eternity acts like an anchor for magic. Here, I'm cut off from it. I can still transform, still use the powers, but it's like running on batteries instead of being plugged into the wall. And Black Adam? Riker pressed. Is he experiencing the same problem? He should be. But Adam has always been better at adapting than me. He's ruthless about it. If there's a way to tap into your universe's energy, your warp cores, your subspace, whatever, he'll find it. He'll weaponize it. A calm signal interrupted. Bridge to Commander Riker. Go ahead. Data's voice carried an edge of urgency. Commander, we have received confirmation from Starfleet intelligence. A Romulan Derrida-class warbird decloaked in the neutral zone 3.2 hours ago and transmitted a message on open channels. The transmission was simple. The Romulan Star Empire recognizes Teth-Adam as a sovereign power and welcomes alliance discussions. Those who oppose him oppose us. Riker's jaw tightened. They're allying with him. It would appear so, sir. Admiral Nechayev is convening an emergency session of the Federation Council. Shazam sat up on the biobed, ignoring Crusher's protests. No. No, no, no. If the Romulans give him resources, technology, territory to operate from, he'll use them. He'll learn everything about your universe, your weaknesses, and then he'll turn on them too. That's what he does. He makes people think he's their ally, their weapon, and then he becomes their master. The Romulans are not fools, Worf growled. They would not submit to anyone. They won't realize they're submitting until it's too late. Shazam stood, swaying slightly. Adam is patient. He's spent centuries ruling Kondak before anyone even knew he was the one pulling the strings. He'll do the same thing here. Troy placed a hand on his shoulder. You care about people you've never met. Humans, Vulcans, Romulans, species you didn't even know existed 6 hours ago. Why? The young hero looked at her, and for a moment, the weariness fell away, replaced by something pure and bright. Because that's what heroes do. The wizard chose me, Billy Batson, foster kid from Philadelphia, because he saw something in me. Not power. Not strength. He saw someone who'd choose to help even when it's hard. Even when I'm scared. Even when I'm in a universe I don't understand, cut off from home, watching people get threatened by a monster I helped create. He looked around at all of them. I need your help. But more than that, you need mine. Black Adam has spent 5,000 years proving that might makes right. If he wins here, if he conquers the Federation or the Romulans or whoever, it proves his philosophy. It proves that people like Captain Picard, people who believe in laws and diplomacy and doing things the right way, are wrong. Riker stood. We should get you to the captain. Actually, Data's voice came through the calm again. That will not be necessary. Captain Picard requests the presence of Commander Riker, Lieutenant Worf, Counselor Troy, and our guest on the bridge immediately. We have received a transmission from Tyrelia. Black Adam wishes to negotiate. Shazam's expression darkened. He doesn't negotiate. He dictates terms and calls it negotiation. Whatever he's about to say, don't trust it. Don't believe for a second that he's interested in peace. But he followed them out of sickbay anyway, moving through Enterprise's corridors like a young man heading towards something he knew would hurt but couldn't avoid. Like a hero. The bridge fell silent when Shazam entered. Every officer turned to look at the young hero who'd battled a god in the void and now stood before them looking more human than divine. The lightning bolt on his chest flickered weakly, and his cape hung in tatters, but his posture remained straight. Picard rose from the captain's chair. Mr. Shazam, thank you for coming aboard. Thank you for having me, Captain. The young hero's eyes went to the view screen, where the Federation emblem displayed. Though I'm guessing the welcome would have been different if Adam hadn't forced your hand. Quite possibly. Picard gestured to the ready room. However, circumstances being what they are, I believe we should speak before. Captain, Data interrupted. The transmission from Tyrelia is coming through. Governor T'Pren is requesting we accept immediately. Picard exchanged glances with Shazam, who nodded grimly. On screen. The emblem dissolved, replaced by the governmental complex on Tyrelia. The architecture was classic Vulcan, clean lines, logical design, built to last centuries. But the figure sitting in the council chair didn't belong there. Black Adam lounged on the seat of Vulcan government like a king on a throne. He'd changed since their last encounter. Instead of the battle-worn appearance from space, he now wore formal black and gold robes that seemed to have been conjured from nothing. Behind him stood Governor T'Pren and her council, their faces controlled but their posture rigid with suppressed tension. Captain Picard? Black Adam's voice carried warmth that didn't reach his eyes. How pleasant to see you again under more civilized circumstances. This is not civilization, Picard said coldly. This is occupation. Semantics. I prefer to think of it as new management. Adam gestured to the Vulcans behind him. Governor T'Pren and I have reached an understanding. I provide protection and stability. They provide resources and acknowledgement of my authority. A fair exchange. T'Pren's jaw tightened fractionally, the Vulcan equivalent of shouting. You destroyed their defense fleet. Riker interjected. You call that protection? I removed obsolete weapons that would have been useless against real threats. Consider it a favor. Black Adam leaned forward. But I didn't contact you to debate philosophy, Commander. I'm contacting you because I'm a reasonable man. I don't want war with the Federation. I simply want what's mine. And what exactly do you believe is yours? Picard asked. Recognition. Respect. Territory befitting my station. He stood, and even through the view screen, his presence dominated the room. I am offering the Federation a choice. Acknowledge my sovereignty over the Arcani sector, 12 systems, including Tyrelia, and I will maintain peace with your borders. Refuse, and I will take what I want anyway. But I'd rather not leave a trail of destroyed colonies in my wake. Shazam stepped forward. That's extortion, Adam. These people don't belong to you. Black Adam's expression shifted to contempt the moment he saw his opponent. Still alive, boy? I'm surprised. You could barely maintain your transformation when we arrived. How much longer before you flicker out entirely? Long enough to stop you. With what power? The God's blessing works through the rock of eternity. We're cut off from it. Every time you transform, you're drawing from reserves that won't replenish. Adam smiled. I, on the other hand, have learned something fascinating about this universe. Your subspace. It's remarkably similar to the magical ley lines of our world. Different energy, same principle. I've already begun adapting. Data's console lit up. Captain, I'm detecting an energy buildup in the governmental complex. Black Adam's power signature is increasing. On screen, lightning began to crackle around Adam's form, not the flickering, unstable power Shazam displayed, but steady, controlled energy that pulsed in rhythm with something deeper. You see? Adam raised his hand, and the lightning coalesced into a sphere of golden power. I don't need the Rock of Eternity. I don't need the God's permission. I've tapped into this universe's fundamental forces. Your warp technology, your subspace communications, all of it runs on energy I can manipulate. Soon, I won't just match my original power. I'll exceed it. He crushed the sphere, and the energy dissipated in waves that made the transmission flicker. You have 24 hours to decide, Captain Picard. Acknowledge my claim to the Arcani sector, or I begin expanding my territory by force. And unlike the moon I destroyed, the next demonstration will involve populated worlds. He glanced at Shazam. As for you, boy, stay out of my way. You're dying slowly in this universe. Why accelerate the process? Because that's what heroes do, Shazam said quietly. We stand up to bullies. Even when we're outmatched. How noble. How pointless. Black Adam returned to his throne. 24 hours, Captain. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Picard turned to face his crew, his expression carved from stone. Mr. Data Analysis. Based on the energy readings, Black Adam was not exaggerating. He has somehow learned to channel power through subspace itself. If he continues to adapt at this rate, he will achieve full power within 72 hours. Possibly less. And Shazam? Picard looked at the young hero. Your honest assessment of your own status. Shazam met his eyes without flinching. I'm at 60% and dropping. Every transformation costs me more. In our universe, I could fight all day and the rock would replenish me. Here, I'm burning out. Data's right. Adam's adapting faster because he's ruthless about it. He doesn't care what he damages or who he hurts to gain power. Can you defeat him? The question hung in the air. Shazam wanted to say yes, Picard could see it in the young man's eyes, but instead, he answered with painful honesty. Not alone. Not like this. Back home, I had the Justice League. Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. People who could match his power or counter his abilities. Here I have... He looked around the bridge. I have you. And I don't know if that's enough. Worf stepped forward. You have Starfleet. We may not match his power, but we have defeated enemies through tactics, coordination, and courage. The Borg thought themselves invincible. They were wrong. The Borg don't channel lightning through warp cores. Shazam countered. If Adam figures out how to detonate antimatter reactors remotely, every ship in your fleet becomes a bomb. Then we find a way to stop him before he learns. Picard's voice carried absolute conviction. Mr. Data, begin analyzing the energy interaction between Black Adam's power and our technology. Find me a weakness. Counselor Troy, I want a psychological profile. What drives him, what he fears. Mr. Worf, tactical scenarios. Assume conventional weapons are ineffective and work backward from there. He turned to Shazam. And you will tell us everything about Black Adam's abilities, his tactics, his vulnerabilities. If there's a way to beat him, we'll find it. Shazam nodded slowly. There might be one option. It's risky, and it involves something the Romulans probably won't like. What option? Riker asked. The young hero took a breath. We steal him back. Black Adam said the Romulans offered him an alliance. If they're giving him technology, resources, maybe even dilithium, we take it away. Force him to operate alone, without support. The Enterprise hung in space at the edge of the Romulan neutral zone, running silent with all non-essential systems powered down. On the bridge, Picard stood before the viewscreen displaying a tactical map of Romulan territory. Somewhere beyond that border, Black Adam was meeting with the Tal Shiar. And Starfleet was about to do something it hadn't done since the Tomed incident, deliberately cross into Romulan space without authorization. Captain's log, stardate 45822.3. Against my better judgment and with the reluctant approval of Admiral Nechayev, we are preparing to infiltrate Romulan territory. Our mission: gather intelligence on Black Adam's alliance with the Romulan Star Empire and, if possible, disrupt it. The stakes are too high to rely on diplomatic channels that may already be compromised. Picard turned to his assembled senior staff. Shazam stood among them, looking more alert than he had hours before. Dr. Crusher had synthesized a compound that seemed to stabilize his energy signature, temporarily. Mr. Data, what do we know about the Romulan facility where Black Adam is meeting with Tal Shiar operatives? Data pulled up a schematic. The compound is located on Kevratas, an uninhabited moon in the Devora's system. Intelligence suggests it is a covert research facility, possibly related to cloaking technology development. Scans indicate the presence of 3 Deredyx-class warbids in orbit and significant power signatures on the surface. One of those signatures is Adam, Shazam said. I can feel him. Even weakened, the connection between us, champion to champion, it's still there. He's drawing massive amounts of power from something. More than he was on Tyrelia. Geordi studied his console. If the Romulans are giving him access to their power systems, he could be tapping into their artificial quantum singularity. That's the power source for their warbids, a controlled black hole. If he learns to channel that kind of energy, he'd be unstoppable. Riker finished. Picard nodded grimly. Which is why we cannot allow this alliance to solidify. Mr. Worf, what are our tactical options? The Klingon's expression was grim. Limited, Captain. 3 warbids would destroy the Enterprise in direct engagement. Our only advantage is surprise and the Romulans' likely unfamiliarity with Shazam's abilities. I can get inside, Shazam offered. I fly in, avoid their sensors, find Adam, and confront him before he learns too much from them. That's not a plan, Riker objected. That's suicide. It's what I do. What I've always done. The young hero's jaw set stubbornly. I'm not a strategist or a diplomat. I'm a fighter. Point me at the threat and I'll handle it. Troy stepped forward. That's not entirely true, is it? When you spoke about the Justice League earlier, I sensed something. You're not just a fighter. You're part of a team. You missed that. The coordination, the support, knowing others have your back. Shazam's expression softened. Yeah. I do. Superman always had a plan. Batman would have 17 backup strategies. Wonder Woman knew exactly when to talk and when to fight. Me? I'm the powerhouse. The muscle. But here, he gestured helplessly. I don't have them. I'm just a kid in a magic suit that's running on fumes. Then perhaps, Picard said carefully, it's time you learn to operate as we do. Not as a singular champion, but as part of a coordinated effort. He moved to the tactical display. Mr. Shazam, you said you can feel Black Adam's presence. Can you pinpoint his exact location? The young hero closed his eyes, concentrating. He's underground. Deep. Maybe half a kilometer below the surface. There are others with him, not human, not Romulan exactly. Different energy signatures. Tal Shiar operatives likely. Data confirmed. And possibly Romulan scientists studying his abilities. Here's what we're going to do. Picard began outlining the plan. The Enterprise will approach the neutral zone boundary and create a sensor ghost, make it appear we're conducting routine scans. Mr. Data, you'll pilot a cloaked shuttle using technology we acquired during our previous encounters with the Romulans. Worf smiled slightly. It wasn't quite Starfleet regulation, but the Enterprise had indeed acquired certain technologies over the years. Mr. Shazam will accompany the away team, Picard continued. But not to confront Black Adam directly. Your objective is intelligence gathering. We need to know what the Romulans are offering him, what he's learning, and whether there's a way to sever his connection to their power systems. You want me to spy? Shazam looked uncertain. Captain, I'm not exactly subtle. I shoot lightning and punch things. Then it's time you expanded your repertoire, Picard said. The wisdom of Solomon, one of your abilities, correct? Yeah, but it's more like having the right answer when I need it. Strategic thinking under pressure. Then trust it. Trust us. Picard met the young hero's eyes. You came to this universe chasing Black Adam because you felt responsible. That responsibility now extends to learning how to operate in a reality where brute force isn't always the answer. Shazam was quiet for a moment, then nodded. Okay. I'll try it your way. But if things go south? If things go south, as you say, you'll have the full support of this crew. Picard turned to his officers. Mr. Worf, you'll lead the away team. Take Lieutenant Commander Data and Mr. Shazam. Counselor Troy, your empathic abilities may prove useful in reading Romulan intentions. You'll join them. Captain, Riker protested. If the Romulans detect our people on their facility, then we'll deal with the diplomatic fallout. But we cannot allow Black Adam to gain full power with Romulan backing. The threat is too great. The plan was set in motion with quiet efficiency. Within the hour, a modified Type 9 shuttle, equipped with a salvaged Romulan cloaking device, launched from the Enterprise's bay. Inside, Worf piloted while Data monitored sensors, Troy centered herself for the empathic challenge ahead, and Shazam sat quietly, his lightning bolt emblem glowing faintly in the dim cabin light. You are worried, Worf observed, his tone almost gentle. This is natural before battle. It's not the battle that worries me, Shazam admitted. It's what happens if your captain's plan doesn't work. If I have to fight Adam anyway, and I'm not strong enough, people will die, and it'll be my fault. Again. Troy turned to face him. You carry tremendous guilt for bringing Black Adam to this universe. But guilt can be paralyzing. Right now, we need you focused. The counselor is correct, Data added. Statistically speaking, self-recrimination reduces combat effectiveness by 37%. Your best chance of success lies in... A proximity alert cut him off. Romulan patrol, Worf said tersely. 2 warbids decloaking directly ahead. On the view screen, the massive green silhouettes of Romulan vessels materialized from nothing. Their weapons powered up, bathing the shuttle in targeting scanners. They detected us, Data confirmed. Cloaking device failure. We are being hailed. Worf's hand moved to weapons. Recommendations? Shazam stood. Let me out. I'll lead them away, give you time to complete the mission. Negative, Worf growled. We operate as a team. Captain's orders. Then what? The hail connected. A Romulan face appeared on screen. Commander Tomalak, a veteran officer who'd crossed paths with the Enterprise before. His expression held cold amusement. Well. A Federation shuttle, cloaked, in Romulan space. Captain Picard's work, I assume? He leaned forward. And who is that in the cabin with you, Lieutenant Worf? He doesn't appear in any Starfleet database. Shazam and Worf exchanged glances. Commander Tomalak, Worf said carefully. We are on a diplomatic mission of urgent importance. We request. You request nothing. You are trespassing in sovereign Romulan territory. Tomalak's smile widened. However, I find myself curious. My sensors detect an energy signature similar to the being my superiors are currently entertaining. Tell me, Starfleet, have you brought us a second god to study? The transmission cut. Tractor beams locked onto the shuttle from both warbids. And somewhere deep beneath the moon's surface, Black Adam stopped mid-sentence in his discussion with Tal Shiar scientists and smiled. It seems, he said quietly, the boy just made this much more interesting. The Romulan detention cell was small, austere, and lined with force fields that hummed with a frequency designed to disrupt transporter locks. Worf tested the field once, carefully, and received a shock that would have stunned a human. He merely grunted and stepped back. "Honorable enemies do not imprison those on diplomatic missions," he growled. "The Romulans don't do honorable," Shazam said from where he sat against the wall. "Trust me, I've dealt with enough villains to recognize the type. They'll squeeze us for information, then decide if we're worth more as prisoners or corpses." Data stood motionless near the field boundary, his positronic brain processing their situation. "Our capture was tactically predictable. Commander Tomalak has engaged the Enterprise in diplomatic standoffs on 4 previous occasions. He is methodical, cautious, and unlikely to act rashly. Which means he's reporting to higher authority," Troy said quietly. She sat with her eyes closed, her empathic senses stretched to their limit. "I can feel them. Romulan minds, dozens of them throughout this facility. Fear, ambition, curiosity, and something else. Something vast and angry, deep below us." "Adam," Shazam confirmed. "He knows we're here. He's probably laughing." The force field deactivated with a sharp hiss. 6 Romulan guards entered, disruptors drawn, flanking a woman in the elegant uniform of a Tal Shiar operative. She was tall, with the aristocratic bearing common to Romulan intelligence officers, and her eyes held the calculating coldness of someone who'd made torture into an art form. "I am Colonel Lovelock of the Tal Shiar," she said in flawless Federation standard. "You will come with me. All of you. Our guest wishes to meet the champions who dared enter Romulan space. We're not going anywhere until we speak with Commander Tomalak," Worf said. "We have rights under—" "You have no rights here, Klingon." Lovelock's smile was thin as a knife edge. "You are spies in Romulan territory. The only reason you're alive is because our associate expressed interest in the energy signature your friend carries." She looked directly at Shazam. "He says you're dying. That this universe is killing you slowly. Is that true?" Shazam stood, and despite his weakened state, despite the torn cape and flickering emblem, his posture radiated defiance. "What did he offer you? Power? Technology? Whatever it is, you can't trust him. Black Adam uses people. Once he's taken everything you have, he'll discard you." An interesting perspective from someone who followed him across dimensional boundaries. Lovelock gestured, and the guards moved forward. "Walk. Or be dragged. Your choice." They walked. The facility's corridors were standard Romulan design, efficient, cold, built for function over comfort. But as they descended deeper underground, the architecture changed. Newer sections, hastily constructed, with power conduits running along walls that pulsed with golden energy. "They're channeling his lightning," Data observed. "Fascinating. The Romulans are attempting to integrate Black Adam's energy signature with their own power systems. More than that," Troy whispered. "They're afraid of him. Trying to understand him, control him, but underneath, they're terrified." They entered a massive chamber carved from the moon's bedrock. At its center stood a cylindrical structure 40 meters tall, crackling with controlled bursts of golden lightning. Romulan scientists worked at consoles around the perimeter, monitoring energy flows and making adjustments. And seated on a throne-like chair overlooking it all was Black Adam. He'd changed again. The formal robes were gone, replaced by his original black and gold armor. But the lightning dancing across his skin was different. Brighter, more controlled, pulsing in rhythm with the machinery around him. "Welcome, boy," Black Adam's voice echoed through the chamber. "And you brought friends. How touching." He stood, and the movement sent ripples of power through the room. Equipment sparked. Scientists stumbled back. Even the Romulan guards looked uneasy. 5,000 years, Adam continued, walking toward them with the casual confidence of absolute power. "And I've never encountered technology quite like this. Your warp drives, your antimatter reactions, your subspace, it's beautiful. Crude compared to magic, but beautiful in its simplicity." He gestured to the cylindrical structure. "They call it a quantum singularity power matrix. A miniaturized artificial black hole, channeling gravitational energy. The Romulans use it to power their ships. He smiled. I'm using it to remake myself. Shazam's fists clenched. Adam, stop this. You don't belong here. These people aren't your subjects to manipulate. Everything is mine to manipulate, boy. That's what power means. Black Adam raised one hand, and lightning erupted from his palm, not toward Shazam, but toward the Matrix. The energy fed into the structure, which pulsed brighter in response. The Romulans believe they're studying me, learning to replicate my abilities. What they don't realize is that I'm studying them, learning how this universe's energy works. And once I understand it fully... The chamber shook. Not from an explosion, but from the sheer force of power building in the Matrix. Data's eyes widened fractionally. Captain, if that device overloads... His warning was cut off by alarms blaring throughout the facility. Romulan scientists shouted in their native tongue, frantically working controls. Colonel Lovick turned to Black Adam, her composure cracking. What have you done? The containment field is destabilizing. I've accelerated your research, Adam said calmly. You wanted to understand my power. Congratulations, you're about to experience it firsthand. The Matrix began to collapse. Not a controlled shutdown, but a catastrophic failure as divine lightning and quantum singularity energy mixed in ways physics never intended. We need to evacuate, one scientist screamed. There's no time, Data said, his sensors analyzing the cascading failure. The singularity will consume this facility in 47 seconds. The explosion will destroy the moon and likely the warbids in orbit. Worf grabbed Shazam's shoulder. Can you stop it? The young hero looked at the Matrix, at the impossible merger of magic and science tearing itself apart, and for a moment, fear flickered across his face. I don't know. My power's not stable enough. If I try to absorb that much energy... Then don't absorb it, Troy said urgently. Redirect it. You said the wisdom of Solomon gives you answers under pressure. What's the answer now? Shazam closed his eyes. When he opened them, they blazed with white-blue light. Get everyone out. I'll buy you time. That's suicide, Worf growled. That's heroism, Shazam countered. He turned to Black Adam, who watched the chaos with detached amusement. This is what you do, Adam. You don't create, you destroy. You don't build civilizations, you conquer ruins and call it rule. Black Adam's expression darkened. Spare me the speech, boy. If you want to die heroically, be my guest. I'll be gone before this place tears itself apart. Lightning engulfed him, and he vanished. Not flying away, but teleporting through the energy matrix itself, using the quantum singularity as a dimensional gate. He's abandoning them, Troy breathed. Of course he is, Shazam said. That's who he is. He raised both hands toward the matrix and shouted the word that defined him. Shazam! Lightning, pure, white, blazing with the power of 6 gods, struck down through solid rock, through Romulan shielding, through the laws of physics themselves. It connected with Shazam and exploded outward toward the failing matrix. For a heartbeat, 2 forces met, divine magic and quantum science, the power of ancient gods and the energy of a controlled black hole. The matrix didn't explode. It inverted. Reality twisted. The chamber became a kaleidoscope of impossible angles. Shazam screamed, not in pain, but in raw effort as he channeled forces that should have vaporized him instantly. His emblem blazed so bright it was painful to look at directly. And then, impossibly, the matrix stabilized. The alarms stopped. The shaking ceased. The power levels normalized. Shazam collapsed to his knees, smoke rising from his costume. His lightning flickered weakly, barely visible. Colonel Lovick stared at him, her calculating mask gone, replaced by something that looked like a "You saved us." Why? The young hero looked up, exhausted beyond measure. Because that's what I do. Even for people who were holding me prisoner 5 minutes ago. A transmission crackled through the facility's comm system. Commander Tomalak's voice, tight with barely controlled fury. Colonel Lovick, report. What happened? The Enterprise is claiming our facility experienced a catastrophic power surge and offering assistance. Lovick looked at Shazam, then at Worf and the others, then at the dozens of Romulan scientists who would have died if not for a teenage hero from another universe. Tell the Enterprise, she said slowly, that their assistance is no longer required. And inform them that their away team will be returned immediately. Colonel? Tomalak sounded confused. Immediately, Commander. That is an order. The Enterprise bridge fell silent as the away team materialized from Romulan transporters, an unprecedented gesture that spoke volumes about what had transpired on Kavratas. Picard stood to greet them, his eyes immediately finding Shazam, who looked barely able to stand even with Data supporting his weight. Dr. Crusher to the bridge immediately, Picard ordered. Mr. Worf, report. The Klingon's expression was grim. Captain, Black Adam has achieved full power integration with this universe. He used the Romulan quantum singularity matrix to adapt his energy signature. He is now more dangerous than before. However, Data added, his attempt to weaponize the matrix resulted in catastrophic failure. The facility would have been destroyed if not for Shazam's intervention. He saved approximately 273 Romulan personnel. Picard's eyebrow rose. The Romulans allowed you to return because our young friend saved their lives? Colonel Lovick's exact words were. A debt has been paid, Troy said quietly. She witnessed something that challenged her understanding of power. Adam abandoned them without hesitation. Shazam risked his life to save them. For a Romulan, that kind of honor, it matters. Crusher arrived with a medical team, scanning Shazam immediately. His energy signature is at 38%. Whatever he did, it's accelerated the deterioration. At this rate, he'll lose the ability to maintain his transformation within 12 hours. Shazam pulled away gently. I'm fine. We have bigger problems. Adam's gone, and he's figured out how to teleport using your technology. He could be anywhere in the galaxy by now. Negative, Data said, moving to his ops console. I tracked his energy signature as he departed. He did not teleport randomly. He moved with purpose and direction. Based on trajectory analysis, he is heading towards Sector 001. Picard's face went pale. Earth. Specifically San Francisco. Starfleet headquarters. The implications hit everyone simultaneously. Riker spoke first. He's going to attack the heart of the Federation. Make a statement that nowhere is safe. No, Shazam said, his voice hoarse but certain. He's going to demand their surrender. Adam doesn't want to destroy the Federation, he wants to rule it. Attacking headquarters, demonstrating his power in front of the Federation Council, it's exactly his style. Worf's hands clenched. We must warn them. Give them time to evacuate. Time for what? Shazam countered. You saw what he can do. Your shields can't stop him. Your weapons can't hurt him. And now he can teleport through your power systems, meaning every starship, every facility with a warp core, is a doorway he can use. Captain, Data interrupted. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple warp signatures converging on Earth. Starfleet is mobilizing. The Akira, the Thunderchild, the Budapest. At least 30 starships moving into defensive positions around the Sol system. They're going to fight him, Picard said quietly. And they're going to lose. The view screen shifted to show a priority transmission from Admiral Nechayev. Her face was composed, but Picard had known her long enough to see the strain beneath the surface. Captain Picard. I'm sure you've seen the alerts. Black Adam appeared over Utopia Planitia 15 minutes ago and made a declaration that was broadcast across all Federation channels. She took a breath. He's demanding that the Federation Council surrender authority to him within 6 hours, or he will begin systematically destroying our shipyards, star bases, and orbital facilities. He's already demonstrated his capability by destroying 3 automated defense satellites with lightning strikes. Admiral, you cannot negotiate with him, Picard urged. He won't honor any agreement. This is a prelude to conquest. I'm aware, Captain. Which is why Starfleet Command has authorized a full military response. We're going to hit him with everything we have. Admiral, that's suicide. What choice do we have? Nechayev's voice cracked slightly. We're the Federation, Captain. We don't surrender to tyrants. We stand. We fight. Even if... She stopped herself. The Enterprise is ordered to Earth immediately. Maximum warp. Nechayev out. The transmission ended. Picard stood motionless for a moment, then turned to his crew. Mr. Crusher, set course for Earth. Warp 9. Aye, Captain. As the Enterprise leaped to warp, Shazam moved to Picard's side. Captain, there might be another way. Something I haven't tried because it's dangerous, and I wasn't sure it would work in this universe. I'm listening. Back home, when the Justice League faced threats too big for any one of us, we combined our powers. Superman's strength, Flash's speed, my lightning, we'd coordinate attacks that were greater than the sum of our parts. He gestured around the bridge. You have ships. Lots of ships. And every one of them has a warp core generating massive amounts of energy. Data's eyes lit up with understanding. You propose using Starfleet vessels as a power network, channeling their combined energy through you as a focal point. Exactly. If I can connect to your ship's power systems the way Adam connects to quantum singularities, I might be able to boost my strength enough to match him. Shazam's expression was uncertain. But I've never tried anything like this. And if I lose control, I could overload every reactor in range. How many ships would you need? Picard asked. I don't know. 10? 20? The more power I can channel, the better chance I have. Riker stepped forward. Captain, we're talking about turning Starfleet vessels into batteries. If this goes wrong... If it goes wrong, we lose ships, Picard said bluntly. If we do nothing, we lose everything. The Federation doesn't survive a tyrant with godlike powers conquering Earth. He looked at Shazam. Can you do this? The young hero met his eyes. I can try. That's all I've ever been able to promise. Then we'll make it work. Picard moved to his command chair and opened a channel. Picard to all hands. Prepare for combat operations. We are heading into a battle unlike anything Starfleet has faced. Our enemy is powerful, ruthless, and believes himself invincible. But he's forgotten something fundamental. He's forgotten that true strength doesn't come from power. It comes from unity. From people willing to stand together against impossible odds. He looked around his bridge at officers who'd faced Borg, Romulans, and cosmic anomalies without flinching. Black Adam believes might makes right. Today, we prove him wrong. Picard out. The Enterprise raced toward Earth at maximum warp, one ship among dozens converging on humanity's homeworld. On the view screen, the blue-green planet grew larger, beautiful, and fragile against the darkness of space. Somewhere in orbit above San Francisco, Black Adam waited, floating above Starfleet headquarters with arms crossed and eyes blazing gold, watching ships gather like moths to a flame. He had conquered nations, toppled empires, ruled for 5,000 years. But he'd never faced anything quite like Starfleet. And in sickbay, as Dr. Crusher worked frantically to stabilize Shazam's failing energy signature, the young hero closed his eyes and reached out with his consciousness, trying to feel the shape of this universe's power, trying to understand if the wisdom of Solomon could teach him how to channel forces he'd never touched before. The gods had chosen him once. Now he had to choose to be something more than their champion. He had to become their conduit. The battle for Earth was about to begin. Earth hung in the view screen like a jewel under siege. 37 Starfleet vessels formed a defensive perimeter around the planet. Galaxy-class, Nebula-class, Akira-class starships, each one representing the pinnacle of Federation engineering. And above them all, visible even from this distance, floated a single figure radiating golden power. Black Adam. "We're receiving tactical updates from the fleet," Data reported. "Admiral Nechayev is coordinating from the USS Gorkin. She's requesting our status." Picard opened the channel. "Admiral, we have a potential strategy. It's unconventional and carries significant risk, but... Captain, unless your strategy involves a miracle, I'm not interested in hearing it." Nechayev's face was drawn, exhausted. "We've run every simulation. Black Adam can move faster than our targeting systems can track. He can generate energy bursts equivalent to quantum torpedoes. And according to your reports, he can now teleport through our power systems. We're facing an enemy our entire tactical doctrine wasn't designed to counter. Which is precisely why we need a different approach." Picard insisted. "Admiral, I'm requesting permission to coordinate a fleet-wide power transfer. We believe Shazam can channel the combined energy output of multiple starships to match Black Adam's strength." There was a long pause. "You want to turn our ships into a living weapon?" "I want to give our young ally the tools he needs to do what Starfleet cannot." Another pause, then Nechayev nodded sharply. "Approved. But Captain, if this fails, we're going to option 2. Which is? Evacuate the planet and use the array of defense satellites to create a warp core cascade that will take Black Adam with us." Her expression was stone. "I won't let him have Earth." The transmission ended. Shazam entered the bridge, looking somewhat steadier after Crusher's treatment. His emblem glowed with renewed light, but Picard could see the strain in the young hero's eyes. "I heard," Shazam said quietly. "She's willing to destroy everything rather than surrender. That's brave. And terrible." "That's command," Picard replied. "Mr. Data, establish a power transfer network. Link the Enterprise with every ship willing to participate. We'll need to synchronize warp field harmonics and route the energy flow through our deflector array directly to Shazam. Calculating now, Captain. I estimate we can link 23 vessels without risking cascade failures. Combined output will be..." Data paused. "Extraordinary. Equivalent to a medium-sized star's energy production over 10 seconds. Geordi's voice came through from engineering. "Captain, I've rigged the deflector dish to act as a focusing lens. But you need to understand, this kind of power flow through one person, even someone like Shazam, it's not meant to be possible. The human body, even enhanced, can't conduct that much energy without burning out." Shazam finished. "I know. But it's the only shot we have." Troy moved to his side. "You're afraid. Not of dying, of failing again." "Always," Shazam admitted. "Every time I put on this cape, I'm terrified I won't be strong enough, fast enough, smart enough. That someone will die because I wasn't good enough." He looked at Picard. "But the wisdom of Solomon taught me something. Being a hero isn't about being fearless. It's about doing what's right even when you're afraid." "Wise words," Picard said. "We're ready when you are." A proximity alert blared. On the viewscreen, Black Adam moved. He flew toward the gathered fleet with deliberate slowness, his golden aura blazing against the darkness of space. When he spoke, his voice carried across every ship's comm system simultaneously. "Impressive," Black Adam said, surveying the assembled vessels. 37 ships. Thousands of crew. All this power, all this technology, and you still believe you can stop me?" He raised one hand, and lightning crackled between his fingers. "I could destroy you all. But that would be wasteful. I'm offering one final chance. Surrender now, and I'll allow your government to continue as my administrators. Refuse, and I'll reduce your precious Earth to ash and rebuild from the ruins." Admiral Nechayev's voice cut across the channel. "This is Admiral Alina Nechayev of Starfleet Command. On behalf of the United Federation of Planets, I reject your ultimatum. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We don't bow to tyrants." And we sure as hell don't surrender our homeworld to a 5,000-year-old bully with a god complex. Black Adam's expression darkened. So be it. He moved. The sensors barely registered his acceleration before he was among the fleet. A Nebula-class starship fired phasers, beams of coherent energy that should have vaporized any target. Black Adam flew through them without slowing, landing on the hull and driving both fists downward. The ship's shields collapsed instantly. Metal shrieked. He tore through the saucer section like tissue paper, lightning erupting from his hands to short-circuit every system simultaneously. The ship went dark and began drifting. USS Endeavour is disabled, Data reported. Crew is evacuating to escape pods. Another ship, an Akira-class, launched a full spread of quantum torpedoes. Black Adam caught one in midair, simply grabbed the torpedo with his bare hand, and hurled it back at twice the speed. It struck the Akira's warp nacelle, and the resulting explosion sent the ship spinning out of control. This is a massacre, Riker breathed. Captain, Data said urgently. The power network is ready. All ships are standing by. Picard looked at Shazam. Are you certain? The young hero moved toward the turbolift. Where do I need to be? Shuttle Bay 2. We've cleared a space and rigged the entire bay to channel the energy flow. It'll give you direct access to the deflector output. Shazam paused at the turbolift entrance. Captain Picard? Thank you. For trusting me. For treating me like part of your crew instead of just a weapon. You were never just a weapon, Mr. Shazam. You're a hero. Now go prove it. The young champion disappeared into the turbolift. Picard turned back to the view screen, where Black Adam had just disabled his third ship in as many minutes. All ships, this is Captain Picard of the Enterprise. Prepare for synchronized power transfer on my mark. Route all available energy to your deflector arrays and link to the Enterprise's command frequency. 23 ships acknowledged. Mr. Data, lock onto Black Adam's position and target our deflector beam. Targeting locked, Captain. In Shuttle Bay 2, Shazam stood in the center of a circular array of power conduits that hummed with barely restrained energy. He could feel the ships around him, sense their power like distant stars in his consciousness. The wisdom of Solomon whispered possibilities, strategies, the precise harmonic frequency needed to merge Starfleet technology with divine magic. Captain, he said over the comm. I'm ready. Picard's voice was steady, absolute. All ships transfer power. Now. 23 starships simultaneously diverted energy from warp cores, impulse engines, and auxiliary reactors. The combined output flowed through synchronized deflector arrays, converging on the Enterprise, which focused the entire stream into one concentrated beam aimed at Shuttle Bay 2. At Shazam. The young hero raised both arms and shouted, Shazam! His own lightning met the incoming energy torrent. And for one impossible moment, magic and science became the same thing. Shazam screamed as power beyond imagination flooded through him. His emblem blazed like a newborn star. Lightning. White-blue fusion of divine power and antimatter energy erupted from every part of his body. The shuttle bay itself began to glow, metal superheating from the sheer intensity of forces channeling through one teenage boy. But he held it. The wisdom of Solomon gave him understanding. The strength of Hercules gave him resilience. The stamina of Atlas gave him endurance. The power of Zeus gave him control. The courage of Achilles kept him standing. The speed of Mercury let him process the overwhelming sensory input. He held it all. And then he flew. Shazam exploded from the Enterprise at a speed that made warp look sluggish. He crossed the distance to Black Adam in a heartbeat, trailing a comet tail of combined energy that lit up the darkness of space like a second sun. Black Adam turned just in time to see the fist coming. The impact was heard across subspace itself. Black Adam flew backward, tumbling through space for the first time since arriving in this universe. He crashed into a disabled starship, tore through its hull, and emerged on the other side looking genuinely shocked. Shazam hovered where Adam had been, his entire body wrapped in an aura of white-blue lightning interwoven with streams of golden warp energy. When he spoke, his voice carried the combined will of 23 crews who'd given their power to make this possible. You wanted to see real power, Adam? Here it is. Not one tyrant. Not one god. Thousands of people working together. That's what real strength looks like. Black Adam wiped golden blood from his lip and smiled, a terrible, excited smile. Finally, he said. A real fight. They collided in the space above Earth, and the battle truly began. The clash between champions lit up Earth's orbit like a second sun. Each impact sent shockwaves rippling through space that rocked nearby starships. Shazam moved with speed he never achieved before, the combined power of 23 vessels flowing through him like liquid fire. He struck with the strength of gods amplified by antimatter reactors, drove Black Adam back with combinations that would have shattered planets. But Black Adam had 5,000 years of experience. Good! Adam laughed as he blocked a punch and countered with lightning that scorched Shazam's shoulder. Finally, you fight like a champion instead of a child. They grappled, hands locked, lightning of white, blue, and gold intertwining in a sphere of pure energy between them. Shazam could feel the ship's power beginning to fluctuate. The massive energy draw was straining even Starfleet's impressive technology. This power, Adam said, their faces inches apart, it's borrowed. Artificial. The moment these ships fail, you'll fall back to nothing. I am eternal. I am power incarnate. You're just a boy playing dress-up. Maybe. Shazam grunted, pushing against Adam's impossible strength. But that boy saved 200 Romulans you abandoned. That boy is fighting for people he just met because it's the right thing to do. What are you fighting for, Adam? What have you fought for in 5,000 years besides yourself? For just an instant, something flickered in Adam's golden eyes. Not doubt, but recognition. A memory of a man he'd been so long ago that even immortality had nearly erased him. Shazam saw it. The wisdom of Solomon showed him the truth. Black Adam wasn't just a tyrant. He was a tragedy. A champion who'd been corrupted by power, isolated by immortality, who'd forgotten what it meant to stand for something beyond domination. You were chosen too, Shazam said quietly. The wizard gave you these powers for a reason. You were supposed to be a hero. I was, Adam roared, and the raw pain in his voice shook the void. I was Teth-Adam, mighty champion, defender of Kondak. I saved my people, protected them, and they betrayed me. They killed my family, destroyed everything I loved, and when I took vengeance, when I made them pay, the wizard called me a monster. He unleashed a barrage of lightning that drove Shazam backward. So I became what he called me. I became the monster. The tyrant. The God King who takes what he wants because mercy is weakness and love is a lie. No, Shazam said, recovering. Love isn't a lie. It's the only thing that's real. He stopped fighting. Just stopped. Lowered his hands. Dimmed the lightning crackling around his fists. What are you doing? Adam demanded. Giving you a choice. Shazam looked at him, really looked at him, seeing past the power and the rage to the broken man beneath. You can kill me. Right now. I won't fight back. And then you can conquer the Federation, rule this universe, prove to yourself that might makes right. Or what? Or you can remember who you were. Before the pain. Before the anger. When you were a champion who protected people instead of dominating them. Shazam's voice was gentle. Adam, you've been fighting for 5,000 years. Don't you want to stop? Don't you want to rest? Black Adam stared at him. The golden lightning around his form flickered, dimmed slightly. For the first time since arriving in this universe, genuine uncertainty crossed his face. You're trying to manipulate me, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. I'm trying to save you. Because that's what heroes do. We don't just fight villains, we help people who've lost their way find it again. On the Enterprise bridge, Everyone watched in stunned silence. "Captain," Data said quietly, "Shazam's strategy appears to be conversation?" "Not conversation," Troy breathed, tears streaming down her face. "Compassion. He's showing Adam something no one has shown him in millennia. Understanding. Forgiveness." Picard leaned forward in his chair. "Magnificent." In space, Black Adam's lightning guttered like a dying flame. He looked at his hands, hands that had destroyed cities, toppled kingdoms, killed thousands, and for the first time in 5,000 years, he felt something other than rage. He felt tired. "I can't go back," Adam said quietly. "Can't undo what I've done. Can't be who I was." "No," Shazam agreed. "But you can choose who you'll be tomorrow. You can choose to stop." The power network from the Starfleet vessels began to fail. Warning alarms sounded across 23 ships as warp cores strained past safety limits. Shazam's aura dimmed, the borrowed power fading. Within moments, he'd be back to his weakened state. Vulnerable. Black Adam could kill him with a thought. Instead, he lowered his hands. "I'm so tired of being angry," Adam whispered. "Then stop," Shazam said. "Come back with me. To our universe. To the Rock of Eternity. The wizard is gone, but his magic remains. There are other champions now. A whole Justice League of heroes who fight for something beyond themselves. You could be part of that. You could be a hero again. They'd never accept me. They accepted me, a foster kid who got powers by accident. They'd accept anyone willing to try." Shazam extended his hand. "But first, we need to undo the damage. Release the colony you conquered. Help repair what you broke. Show the Federation that you're more than just power." Adam looked at the offered hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he took it. On the Enterprise, Riker exhaled a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "Did that just happen, Mr. Data?" Picard asked. "Black Adam's energy signature is diminishing. Not failing, receding. He is voluntarily reducing his power output." A transmission came through from Tyrelia. Governor T'Pren's calm Vulcan voice carried across the channel. "Enterprise, we are receiving communication from Teth-Adam. He is apologizing. He has lifted his claim of sovereignty and is offering to assist in repairing the planetary defense grid he destroyed." Picard smiled. "Acknowledged, Governor. We'll coordinate relief efforts immediately." Over the next 6 hours, something unprecedented occurred. Black Adam worked alongside Starfleet engineers, using his vast power not to destroy but to rebuild. He reconstructed defense satellites with precision that took decades of training to match. He channeled energy into damaged ship systems, restoring power. He even submitted to questioning from Federation diplomats, answering honestly about his capabilities and limitations. And through it all, Shazam stayed by his side, not as a guard, but as a guide. "You're doing good," Shazam said as they finished repairing the USS Endeavor's warp core. "Real good. Don't patronize me, boy," Adam grumbled. But his tone lacked the venom from before. "I'm not. I'm just proud of you. For choosing this." Adam was quiet for a moment. "The wizard used to say something. With great power comes great responsibility. I spent 5,000 years thinking he was wrong." That power was its own justification. He looked at the repaired starship, at the grateful crew members watching from viewports. Maybe he wasn't completely wrong. Maybe. Shazam agreed. Want to find out? 2 days later, on the Enterprise bridge, Picard stood with Shazam and Black Adam as Data worked at his console, calibrating sensors for something that had never been attempted, opening a controlled portal back to the DC universe. "The dimensional rift is stabilizing," Data reported. "I cannot guarantee where or when you will emerge in your home reality, but the calculations suggest you will arrive within your native timeline." Shazam turned to Picard. "Thank you, Captain. For everything. For trusting me. For showing me that there are different kinds of strength." "You showed us something as well," Picard replied. That heroism transcends universes. That compassion can achieve what force cannot. He extended his hand. Live long and prosper, Mr. Shazam. The young hero shook it, grinning. I'll try. Though in my line of work, long is relative. Black Adam stepped forward, and to everyone's surprise, offered Picard a respectful nod. Captain, your federation is unusual. Weak in some ways, but strong in others I had forgotten existed. He glanced at Shazam. Perhaps there is wisdom in your philosophy after all. Perhaps, Picard agreed. And perhaps a 5,000-year-old champion might find purpose in protecting rather than ruling. Perhaps. Adam almost smiled. Stranger things have happened. The portal blazed to life, a swirling vortex of colors that had no name in Starfleet's databases. Lightning crackled around its edges, white, blue, and gold intertwining. Shazam and Black Adam stepped toward it. At the threshold, Shazam turned back one last time. Oh, and Captain? If you ever need champions again? We'll find a way back. Heroes always do. They stepped through. The portal collapsed, and the Enterprise bridge was quiet for a long moment before Riker spoke. Did we just watch Black Adam, 5,000-year-old tyrant god, get redeemed by a teenager? Indeed, number one, Picard said, settling into his command chair with a slight smile. Indeed we did. Captain's log, stardate 45,824.1. The crisis has passed. Black Adam and Shazam have returned to their universe, leaving behind repaired facilities, grateful colonies, and a federation that witnessed something remarkable, that even the most powerful tyrant can choose a different path when shown compassion instead of conquest. Starfleet Command has classified most of the encounter, but I suspect the legend will persist. After all, we are explorers. And sometimes, the most important discoveries are not new worlds or new civilizations, but new understandings of what it means to be heroic. He looked at his crew, his family, and felt profound gratitude. Mr. Crusher, set course for the Caldor system. We have a diplomatic mission to complete. Course laid in, Captain? Engage. The Enterprise leaped to warp, leaving Earth behind, venturing once more into the infinite possibilities of the cosmos, where new adventures, and perhaps new champions, awaited. Word count, 1,297. Conclusion. The Federation would never be quite the same after the Week of Lightning, the unofficial name given to Black Adam and Shazam's brief time in the Star Trek universe. Starfleet Academy added new courses on asymmetric power dynamics. Engineers developed protocols for detecting and countering energy manipulation that bypassed conventional shields. Diplomats studied the case as an example of how compassion could succeed where force would fail. But the real legacy lived in quieter moments. On Tyrelia, Governor T'Pren kept a recording of Shazam's words. That's what heroes do. She played it for her students when teaching about the diversity of courage. In Romulan space, Colonel Loveck filed a classified report that would influence Tal Shiar policy for years. Power without honor is suicide. The boy champion proved this. And on the Enterprise, Picard kept a personal log entry he never shared, reflecting on a truth the young hero had demonstrated, that true strength wasn't measured in destructive capacity, but in the choice to build rather than break, to forgive rather than conquer, to see the person beneath the power. Somewhere in another universe, Billy Batson stood in the Rock of Eternity, watching as Black Adam, Teth-Adam, knelt before the remnants of the wizard's magic and swore an oath to use his power as it was intended. To protect. To serve. To remember that being chosen meant responsibility, not dominance. Think he'll keep his word? Billy asked the shadows. The rock hummed with ancient power, and though the wizard was long gone, his wisdom remained. Some questions, it seemed to say, can only be answered through time. But for the first time in 5,000 years, Black Adam had a chance to find out who he could become instead of who he'd been. And that, perhaps, was the greatest magic of all. Live long and prosper. Hit the subscribe button for more interesting stories. Thank you for watching.